Hi, folks. This is Rick Doc Walker, the DOC.
This is John Kime, and you're listening to the Mess Hall with Rally Captain and Tailgate Ted.
What's going on, Rally? How things going, man? You ready for that bus trip?
I'm always ready for a trip, bro. I mean, it's all somebody's got to say is TRIP, my head will pop up. This is what I live for. Away football games with the possibility of being first in the division. Let's do it, baby. Let's do it.
Yeah, man. I'm excited about what's going on. For those wondering, the Steelers game is what it is, right? Rally and I didn't have a chance to record one immediately after the game. The real JOBs get in the way, and it's Wednesday. We're recording this. I mean, I did want to ask you walking around the lots because I don't want to say arguing, but going back and forth with some people asking about, what was the breakdown? What happened to the burgundy towels? First, did you actually get one of those towels?
I did not. I was told that staff was giving them to Steelers fans to thwart our burgundy/yellow towel fight. So, yeah, I didn't get one.
So Steelers fans are being given the towels.
Yes.
So
a lot of people told me that.
This is the problem I have. It's like it was a good idea in theory, but the problem I have is when you do these giveaways that are for the home team fans, and something like this was meant to be waived during the game. So this doesn't really help. I've got a solution for it, but like they had given away at one point, they were going to do the seat cushions. Remember the whole seat cushion game?
Mm-hmm.
And then they were worried that the seat cushions were going to get thrown on the field before the game was over. So they hand the seat cushions out after the game, which I was actually very thankful for. So when you're leaving the stadium, you're getting your seat cushion.
Mm-hmm.
But to me, usually the first people that get inside the game are opposing teams' fans because they don't have typically tailgates to go to. So they grab all that stuff. The team in the past, they did towels they gave away for HBCU, right? I would have loved to get a Commander's Howard towel or, a Hampton towel or something in the past. The team coming here, they got no loyalty. They don't care unless they actually went to an HBCU. Maybe they'd actually want the damn thing. But you typically find them lying on the ground inside the stadium when they're leaving. So when your fans are done tailgating and done partying, they start going through the gates. All the giveaways are gone, and it gets frustrating. So I went to 3 different gates, and people were texting me and messaging, "Hey, can you get me a towel?" I'm like, I will try, but by the time I get inside, and I had maybe 9 minutes before kickoff, by the time I got to my seat, they were all gone. So I wasn't shocked. I was shocked that people I know that get in early, they couldn't find a damn towel to save their life. And did you go on the field?
Yeah.
So you had to have been in early, right, to be able to do that. So you still didn't even get one. So I'm looking in the stands, and, obviously their fans are waving those damn towels. I'm trying to see where ours are. And it's difficult because people are wearing a darker colored jacket because it was cold outside, or they had a burgundy jersey. So it doesn't stand out as much. But just in general, I barely saw any towels being waved around at all. And now hearing what you said kind of makes sense.
Yeah. It reminds me of when we went to LA, I want to say, and LA was giving out replica Super Bowl rings. Well, I got one, and I had several Rams fans saying, "Hey, do you mind giving me up your ring?" And I was like, "Uh-uh."
I
I
don't blame
guess
you.
I guess my thought process was, I paid my money just like you. I got one and you didn't. So that's probably their thought process. Hey, I paid my money to come in. Whatever you guys are giving, I'm taking. So the only thing that I don't take when I go to the normal away stadiums is like the program, or they pass out like pamphlets or leaflets or something like that. I don't pick those up. I just I'm good. But if it's something that I think I might like, oh, I'll take it.
I don't think I ever told you about the riot. I might have been the reason why it started in Tampa Bay. It
Uh-oh.
was 2005,
Uh-huh.
and we're in Tampa for the playoffs, and we end up winning that game. And
Mm-hmm.
Sean got kicked out of the game for spitting in that guy's face. And I think it was LeVar that had a scoop and score fumble recovery. or it might have been Marcus Pat. Regardless, we ended up winning the
Hmm.
game. The
Right.
Bucks gave out car flags. So each seat had a flag in it, right?
Okay.
And I mean, if you're going to do it, that's kind of the way to do it, right? So everybody gets one, not just 10,000 people, however it is. So they gave out a flag. Well, we beat them. Their fans started leaving, so I started collecting the flags. Well, it was cold, and let's just say we needed to warm up, so we started a bonfire with all of these flags in the parking lot for our post-game tailgate, just celebrating. And oh man, there were a couple of pissed off Buccaneers fans that were not happy that those flags are being burned in effigy. And it actually would have been fitting if they were the Vikings, just kind of torching all that stuff and just pushing it off into the water. But it was a damn good time. Maybe this is karma. That's why I'm not getting a burgundy towel from the Commanders, but
Well,
it
see, there
was
you
fun.
go. There you go. The only other stadium that I think that actually puts a towel on every seat is Dallas when they do it. Dallas will put a towel on every seat, and or at least the lower bowl. I don't. I'm not sure if the higher up seats, the 400 section or 500 or whatever it is that they have, if they do it for them. But I know the lower bowl will get the white towel with the blue star that I use for toilet paper, basically when I need it, and I
I
run
mean,
out.
if you need a do rag, you need a rag, but it's usually so their fans can hold it up in the air to block the sun
Yeah.
because the sun coming down the stadium just kind of blinds them. So maybe that's why they're doing it for the lower level fans.
You know what, man? What gets me about that whole thing is you thought that you created an advantage for away teams, but it wound up being the same thing for your own team. So yeah, failure.
It's it's just so great seeing them implode right now and just being the laughing stock. And for those that want to come to our tailgate, if you're an away team fan, you got to get approval. And I've talked about this in the past. I'm not going to do it again. I've actually had several because our next home game's the Cowboys, and RSVP doesn't open up until the 14th. So I've had several of them reach out and say, "Can you please let us join you because we're going to get our ass kicked. You guys are going to stomp all over us, and we actually want to enjoy part of the day. Our team is horrible. Our owner is an idiot and won't go away. So can you at least give us that?" And my reply back is no. We're a burgundy and gold tailgate first. Either you're a Washington fan or you're coming from NFL Europe, or you got to actually show a passport to get into the country to get to our stadium. You're not getting priority. And especially not if you're a Dallas fan. I don't care if you're getting your butts whooped or not. So it does make me feel good inside to see that all that's happening though.
The only thing I want about that game is don't flex it. I think it's still a 1 o'clock game. Let it stay that, and let's move on. I don't want any more four. Don't even give me an 8 o'clock game. 1 o'clock. Let's get it over with and move on.
Yeah, I don't think that game's moving. I think if it would have moved, that would have said something about it already. But Dallas, no one
Hmm.
wants to see it. So I can't see it happening. I can see the Eagles game towards the end of the season at our stadium getting flexed. I
Yeah.
don't think that's staying where it's
Oh,
at. If the
yeah.
Falcons game has playoff implications, which it looks like it's going to be, I can see that getting flexed. But other than
Hmm.
that, Tennessee, they're not moving that game.
Nah.
I picked up 26 club seats for that Titans game. Guess how much I paid per ticket for that?
Uh, 200.
129 a ticket for a club level seat for the
What?
Commanders Titans game. Yeah, dude. That's what I'm saying. I felt so bad because it's my sister and a bunch of her girlfriends and some good friends of mine. They're all coming out. This is the one game a year they're coming out. So I said, how many tickets do you need? It started off at 8. It's like, okay, I can make a phone call at 8. And then it fast forwarded to 26. What? It's like, yeah, I don't know about that. Call the team up. They still got a bunch of away side tickets left. And this time of year, I don't want to say prefer those, but if you're on the club level, it's better because you're in the sun. So you'll stay warmer longer if it's a 1 o'clock
Hmm.
game. So I got them 26 tickets for
Wow.
$129 a piece. So for those of you listening right now, this is a mistake another friend of theirs made. They went on SeatGeek and they didn't check the no resale option. So for her ticket, she spent 300 plus because it was someone that was reselling their ticket versus the
Hmm.
face value ticket you get directly from the team. So I felt horrible that that actually happened to him. But if you guys want to come to a
Ouch.
game, Tennessee's your cheapest one to get to for the rest of the season. Go grab them now.
Yeah, so there's no excuse. But even still, I understand weather. It's cold, but in the club you can go inside. But who wants to go inside? Actually, a football game, you want to stay outside and
Mr.
cheer the team
Tailgate.
on. Well,
Yeah.
okay.
And a bunch of these,
Yeah.
I don't want to say girls that are going. They are my sisters, sorority sisters, and friends. That's the only reason why I'm saying that. But I'm sure some of them are going to want to go inside and warm up. I don't want to sit in the club level. I've been waiting to turn down Jason Wright or someone that's going to invite me to a suite because I don't want to sit in a bougie box. But it's nice to be invited. Like it's nice to be
Oh
nominated
yeah,
for an Academy Award, knowing I'm never going to
yeah.
win, but it's nice to be invited. Unless they've got a burgundy towel waiting for me when I get to my seat, because I think you'll get those in those executive suites.
No doubt about it. No doubt about it. Something tells me that they do have some left over somewhere. They always got leftovers
Oh yeah.
somewhere. So who knows? For the New Orleans rally, there might be. Now, I'm not saying that there are. Before we go any further, I'm saying that a lot of times when I get swag, it's for items that have been left over to be able to pass out to out of town people. So if there are any towels and they give them to me, I will pass them out.
So that
If
was
there
actually going
are,
to be my suggestion to the team is if you do something like this, hold a couple of boxes at guest services. There's a guest services on the first floor. There's one on the club level. I don't know if there's one on the fourth floor. I'm not sure. But hold a couple of boxes at guest services and have those fans show their gold card. And if they've got a gold card, you give them a towel. It's as
yeah,
simple as that. That way, your season
too
ticket
easy.
holders, who you have verified are season ticket holders, get a damn towel. And I
Too
know we're talking about a stupid towel, but for us, it actually means something because we want things like this to celebrate our fandom. And hey, it's actually, a stupid little perk from being a season ticket holder. It was nice though that they actually were checking gold cards because they had so many Steelers fans coming out. They wanted to make sure,
hmm
at least when I came in, the gold lane was actually being used.
definitely. But here's the other thing, though, Ted. Just because it was for this particular game, it doesn't mean that you can't bring it back for hypothetically the Dallas game or the Tennessee game or the Eagles home game. It's your towel to wave. So, it's not one and done. You're going to throw it away. You can bring it to the it's multi-use. You can bring it to the next game and so forth and so on. So I think that we kind of did a disservice.
Yeah. I mean, they had the right thought, the right idea, the intention
Yeah.
was there, the execution just wasn't. And kind of similar to the execution of the team on the field, right? Things were going good, going good, going good. And then next thing you know, Benjamin St. Juice gets burned over the top, right? We've got a chance to come back and then stop them on fourth down. And next thing you know, Johnny Newton forgets that it's 4th and 1. They're not actually going to snap the ball. And he gets offsides and the play's dead and the game's over. It just mental mistakes is
Little
really what
things.
killed us.
Yeah, little things lead up to costly things. I'll say this: we weren't able to talk about it, but since we are broaching this subject, there's no such thing as a moral victory. But I was happy the way our guys played. We win as a team, we lose as a team, and we had that game won basically. But due to things that just are unforeseen with us, they happened, and I still don't understand why, but they did. And as they say, that's how the cookie crumbles. And our cookie crumbled. We took an L by 1 point. That was our game to win, and Pittsburgh's game to lose. And they came out and they won. So
But
I'm
they
not going to
are who
blame it
we thought
on.
they were. And we never
Yeah,
want to lose them.
we sure did. So I mean, like I said, it's a team victory and it's a team loss. So the good thing is I read what Cosme said, and I think those boys are gonna be fired up for tomorrow night's game. I really do, and I'm hoping to see close to perfection on the field tomorrow night.
Yeah. I'm looking forward to it. And, It's frustrating. It's upsetting. I'm not gonna lie. I did put money on the Steelers because I didn't think we were gonna win the game. And I figured, I've those of you that listen to us, maybe you listen to the sports junkies. I mean, they do something called the emotional hedge, and you're happy either way. I wasn't happy that the Steelers won, but it helped restock my humidor a little bit with the money I put down on the Steelers. So when we get the next victory cigar, it's going to be a better top quality one. And I do appreciate people have actually been dropping off cigars to the tailgate. That's been a lot of fun. And people just so I'm standing in my seat with Steve Shenevy. So Steve, I do the stuff with on Fox 5. He's a good friend. He's also a diehard Steelers fan. He's from Pittsburgh. And that's the only reason I would ever let a Pittsburgh fan sit next to me. I mean, Steve's from there. He has season tickets and goes back to Steelers games. And this guy yells, I saw you on TV. I saw you on TV. I'm thinking he's talking to Steve. Nah, he was talking about me on the NFL pregame show with a cigar for 4 seconds. Not even 4 seconds, just lighting the cigar on fire.
Yeah.
And he wanted to take a picture. It's like, oh, let me hold the camera for you. It's like, no, no, no. He wanted Steve to hold the camera because he wanted to take the picture with me. So it actually kind of cracked me up because he never gets that. It's always, oh man, I love you on Fox 5, blah, blah, blah. Had nothing to do with that because it was Fox, but it was the pregame show. So I appreciate everyone
Superstar.
dropping those cigars on. Nah, not even close, man. It's just helping me save some cash. So
Superstar. Look at that. Can I get your autograph?
I will give you an autograph next time I see you. As long as you tell me how that video came out once you're actually done with that of walking around the parking lot. Because I saw
Yeah.
the shoulder cam. And
I can't
maybe I
wait.
can get a little byline credit, like produced by Tailgate Ted on there or something.
Yeah, I can't wait to edit and go over it because I just haven't had enough time. And a lot of people have asked me about it, and my job, I've just been super, super busy. And it looks like Friday may be the first day that I can actually get to Sunday's footage with all the SB event stuff going on, the bus trip, my regular job. I mean, I tell you guys, it's not easy, but I wouldn't trade it for the world. So I look forward to it.
So speaking of bus trip, you guys are leaving tomorrow to head up there.
Yep.
You got any Dallas fans or any Eagles fans riding up with you, or not Dallas fans, but people from Dallas riding up with you again, or this is strictly burgundy and gold bus?
No, primarily burgundy and gold. However, I do believe there are a couple Eagles fans on the bus. And, for everybody that says I wouldn't let them on the bus, you can't do that. You got to allow somebody who wants to go to their home stadium, go to it. I mean, that's just how it is. I could be rude and say no, but you don't do that.
It is
You
your
let the
bus. I mean,
it is my
you
bus.
know,
However, it's open to all. I don't discriminate.
have a
So if
second price, right? And then they just pay the second price.
Eagles
That
fans, here's
way,
your price.
yeah, there you go. I mean, if they really want to get up there and they pay the second price, and I mean, don't make it something like ridiculously over what the Commanders fans are paying. But if they show up to the bus wearing Eagles gear, then there's a surcharge, like there's a cover fee, right?
Mm,
You're going to get your bottle that you're paying for when you get there, but you still got to pay the cover charge to actually get through the door.
mm. Shrewd businessman. Shrewd businessman.
They got to breathe the same air as you, so I'm just a little concerned. But hopefully they're frowning on the bus ride home instead of you guys, because last year going up there we got swept. So this year I don't know what's going to happen. We'll get into that in a minute. I'm not going to lie. I do think it should be. I don't want to say illegal, but I think it should be a rule that you don't schedule division games coming into a short week. Because division games count for so much more. A division game has to be either after a bye week or after just a normal week. You don't schedule a division game after the team plays on a Thursday night after the team plays on a Sunday. It shouldn't be done that way because these games do mean so much more. I mean, do you think it matters, or what say you?
I say as long as both teams play at the same time on Sunday and they pit them against each other on Thursday, you're still equal. You're still equal. You may not get, I don't know, let's just say 110, but you'll get 95% effectiveness. So and emotions are going to be high. So I'm not upset about that at all. Now, I would be upset if Philadelphia had a bye the week prior and they had this whole time to rest when we played back to back, because I think we have done that before, not against the Eagles per se, but I think we have played, and I said this is totally unfair, but both teams played at 1 o'clock. Both teams
No, they played at 4.
they played at 4. Okay, we'll
They played
see.
at 4 in
I'll
Dallas. So
I'll take
technically the
that.
advantage goes
Goes to
to
the
us
Commanders.
because
Yes,
but we have to still go up, and they're actually flying there. In the past, they've taken the train. They're actually flying there. I feel like you put your seatbelt on and they bring the card out to give you peanuts, and then all of a sudden they get to row 2 and they gotta turn back around because it's just such a quick flight. I don't
you said
understand.
you said road two.
I mean, it is such a fast flight, man. It's gonna take them longer to actually get in the city from where the airport is and to actually, you know,
That
serve
is
concessions to people.
that is something, because I think the flight to Philly is only maybe an hour, I believe, man. I mean, so yeah, so up and down. It's like going to New York though. New York is up and down, so I don't mind that flight either. But hey, man, the good thing is this: our heads are going to be on right because of the mental mistakes that were made. So this plane ride won't even matter. They're gonna be locked in, laser focused, and I feel that. I really do feel that, and I feel as though, look out, brother. Our fans that are going up there will be the same way.
Yeah, and there were a lot of mistakes in that Steelers
Mm-hmm.
game. Not we
Mm-hmm.
didn't lose because of Johnny Newton, right?
No,
I'd say, okay, maybe we potentially lost because of Benjamin St. Juice, but there were a bunch of drops in that game. Ertz had
collective
some
play, yeah.
drops. McCaffrey had some drops. Noah, Oz's fumble. There were a lot of mistakes in that
Two
game.
times.
I mean, a lot of them are mental mistakes. And this is actually what DQ had to say about correcting those mistakes on a short week.
And coach, with it being such a short week, I know you just mentioned that it's the same process, but do you get a little, maybe, I don't want to call it worried, maybe anxious about if those things can be corrected in such a short period of time?
Good news, we've got a lot of banked hours together. And so many of these things are ones that can be corrected. And so if there was a long laundry list of what was going on that felt bad, I'd say I would be anxious or worried. But this is a group that responds, and in a game that we have to make the corrections and move forward, that's okay. That's part of what we do. And so good news, a good bit of these players, Kenny, will know the correction before we even come to them. And so that, to me, is the best of the best, where this is not kindergarten. We have to tell everything, no, put your backpack into the cubby. It's not that. Every game and instant is different, but you do have to get it right. You have to.
I mean,
Not put the backpack in the cubby. Oh my gosh.
I do
These are
enjoy Dan Quinn's press
yeah,
conferences,
man.
man.
Yeah, these are grown amen, man. Grown amen, and they understand the mistakes that were made. We as fans aren't going to allow them not to remember the mistakes that were made. So I'm sure that locker room, after the press cleared out, they talked about it. I'm sure they did. And hey, we're human. We make mistakes. But the thing about it is, we have an opportunity to redeem ourselves. And that's what I'm looking forward to the most, seeing them redeem themselves. Because I told you, I don't fear anybody in the NFL as long as we continue to play the way we've been playing, mistake free, that is.
Yeah, it's Detroit concerns me going up against Detroit. I feel that Kansas
Okay.
City being unbeaten right now, I don't want to say some of it's a fluke, but they've had, I want to say 4 or 5 walk-off wins, right? It's
Hmm.
come down to the wire for them, but
Hmm.
Detroit, they're just getting stronger, and it's going to have to go through there. And you've been in Detroit for a game, not a playoff game, but like a regular game, and know how loud that place can get. So I can't even
Yeah.
imagine what it would be because odds are they're going to be hosting the NFC Championship instead of traveling someplace, considering where they are right now record-wise. So yeah, that one concerns me. But the fact is, we've got a ton of veterans on this team, and each time our team has lost, they have bounced back and actually gone on a little mini run, right? And I think that's because of the veteran leadership you have in this team and the brotherhood they talk about. And Johnny Newton was crying after that game, right? And he had his teammates basically trying to fend the media off for him in the locker room. The media wanted to talk to Johnny. They wanted to get a reaction. And some of the guys were saying, hey, just leave him alone. He knows he made a mistake, right? And they basically still, I don't want to say we're pestering him, but they were like, he's got to talk to us. It's a good thing. Let's just get it done with now. And you had Jaden high-fiving Johnny, like, hey, we got your back, while he was actually talking to the media. You had guys sticking up for him saying, this wasn't all on this kid, right? He knows he made a mistake. It was part of it. Like other locker rooms in the past, that kid probably would have been on his own just to face the pack of wolves. But these guys are standing up for each other. And you mentioned Sam Cosmi earlier. Cosmi has not been a vocal person on this team and in this locker room, but he has completely changed the way he has acted since he's been on this team, because he's a vet now. And I think it's because he feels that brotherhood and he wants to go to bat for his brothers in there. And some of them couldn't make it. Andrew Wiley wasn't able to play, game time decision. But, he mentioned how he's going to be there this week. And talking about injury, unfortunately, Lattimore's out, right? Lattimore's not going to play as of today. Coach said he's not going to make it. Seibert's not going to play. That sucks. Zane did a decent job, made me, pucker up a little bit on one of his field goals. But when it was coming down and we had a chance to potentially win that thing on a game-winning field goal, I'm still confident that they brought him in here for a reason and we would have been okay. But the other piece of this puzzle, B-Rob looks like he's going to be ready. Quinn said that he practiced past couple of days. He showed some speed. Looks like he should be fine. And Cornelius Lucas looks like he should be okay. So if we do need another left tackle or another right tackle or a left tackle to come in, you got Big C Luke in there instead of having Trent Scott have to deal with it, because I watched the game over again and it just terrified me every time I saw Trent Scott going up against TJ Watt, just licking his chops, ready to lay one into Jaden.
Well, the good thing is, though, yeah, they had pressure, but nobody really got to them like that. So I'm proud of our guys. Make no bones about it. Obviously, when we talked earlier about in some previous pods about the pieces, we still are moving those pieces, and those pieces are going to get moved. Best believe. And all you got to do is find the right ones that fit one time, and the rest, as they say, is history. So we're still trying to toggle them and figure out what to do. But when we do, man, I don't want to hear any excuses.
So there's one piece that I know is frustrating a lot of fans, and that's punt returner. And this is actually what DQ had to say about that cog.
Want to just ask whether there's the possibility of reevaluating the punt return game after a couple of miscues yesterday, or are you confident that can be put behind him and move forward?
Yes.
Successfully?
Yep. Fair question. And no one would be more disappointed than OZ in that. I am confident in him. And knowing that, to have one come out and, on the possession and lose that one, that's a big deal. But the guy's working incredibly hard at it. And don't have any change into that space as we're heading into this game. But yeah, very fair question on that.
Makes me wonder if they would make a change if we're going into a regular week. But this isn't the first time OZ has bobbled a ball. This is the first time he's actually given one up. But this isn't the first time he's had a problem catching. And it just concerns me, primetime game, with this going on. And during the radio broadcast, they were making an excuse. Well, the Steelers punter is a left-footed punter. So the ball's coming in at a different angle than he's used to, or than what the jug machines are showing you. But Tress Way is also a left-footed punter, right? And during practice, those that haven't been out, typically Tress isn't actually punting the ball. He'll go through the motions and simulate, and they'll have the long snap and do that. But then they'll actually have a jugs machine shoot the ball up in the air at that point, and then have the punt returner actually catch the punt. And I don't know if it's because they don't want to just potentially risk stretching out Tress's leg or something and going back and forth in practice. But it just seemed kind of odd to me that that was the excuse that was being given over the broadcast, considering that's what Tress is. So you actually can practice it if you need to. How concerned are you that they're not changing it?
I have to agree with you. If this was a longer week, maybe we see Crowder back in, because we haven't seen Crowder since maybe week 3.
Hold
I
that
think.
thought. Hold that thought. And this is why we haven't seen Crowder.
And Jamison Crowder, any talk of opening his practice window?
We have not opened the window on Jamison yet.
Crowder's on IR. They can't bring him out there. So he's actually not on the roster. They have to open his 21-day practice window before they can then bring him back and add him to the roster. Then they have to clear a roster spot and blah, 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 blah. But yeah, a lot of fans were saying, where the hell's Crowder? Where the hell's Crowder? In the stands. Like, why is OZ back out there? It's because Crowder is on IR. He got hurt earlier on the season.
Mm-hmm. Well, like I said, week 2 or week 3, something like that. So I'm sure that if the opportunity was available for him to be back in there and play, he may be the one to have a competition to take OZ's spot. I mean, that's just, it is what it is. But as you said, he's on IR. He can't do it. And I'm wondering when that opportunity will present itself, because the thing that you don't want to do, we always talk about cohesiveness, and right now they have a cohesive unit. Even though he's dropped the ball, could Eckler go back there and do it? Because I mean, he does. If you can do kickoffs, you can do punt returns. Maybe they just don't want to overwork Eckler. But now that B. Rob is back healthy, you might think about doing that, splitting those reps. I don't know. What do you say?
So according to Brian Mitchell, and I'm actually wearing my B. Mitch for Hall of Fame shirt right now.
I see that.
Just because you can catch kickoffs doesn't mean you can catch punts. He says it's completely different.
Okay.
If you can catch punts, according to B, you can catch kickoffs, but not vice versa. The way the ball comes, the trajectory of the ball, the things you have to look at, he says it's completely different beast. And he doesn't say that Eckler can't do it, but they're just not interchangeable positions, right? Just because you're a wide receiver, you should be able to be the X receiver and the Z receiver, right? It's not the same when it comes to specials with kickoff and punt. So I would have thought, like you, that's fine, but the guy should be in the damn Hall of Fame. And if he's saying it, then okay, I believe him. But there's got to be someone else, right? There's got to be someone else on the roster that you would think. I just feel that because it's a short week, on Monday, they didn't have practice, but they had to give a injury report if they would have actually had a practice. On Tuesday was just a walkthrough, and today was just another simulated game. So they weren't actually doing anything and going full bore and trying anything. So it's just such a tough time, and it sucks because our bye's not till week 14 and we're only in week 11. So it is what it is, that you just can't really work someone else into that position. And I was thankful that I don't remember him catching another punt. I think they just might have gone over his head, or some of them were short. So we didn't have to worry or pucker up any more than we did earlier on. But I'm not going to lie, man, every time, hopefully the Eagles are punting a lot. Every time it happens, I'm going to be sitting there freaking out, wondering what the hell's going on. And is this guy going to catch it?
Not only that, the level of excitement is going to be in the air for him because he just came from the Eagles. So you got to that factor in, wanting to show up for the team that got rid of him, so to speak. So you can see him wanting to do more. And when you put that pressure on yourself, that added pressure, it's kind of rough, man. One thing that I'm hoping is that the team is practicing their silent count, because that Philadelphia crowd can be really loud and really raucous.
Yeah, you gotta think that they are. I mean, this coaching staff, they make sure that this team is prepared. We haven't been blown out of a game. I mean, that Bucks game definitely wasn't a good one, but we have been blown out of a game, and they get them prepared for what they're facing. And I'm not sure what's going to happen up there. I mean, I had hoped that we wouldn't have gave the Steelers fans any reason to wave those damn towels, right? And maybe, we don't give those Eagles fans a reason to cheer and yell and scream, but those night games up in Philly, they've been drinking all damn day, hopped up on those stupid cheesesteaks. I mean, those fans are going to be crazy, and hats off to all you guys that are going up there. I want to go. I really do. My money just ain't right enough to do it, and I want to save that cash for the playoffs, assuming we're going to go. I mean, they're a half game ahead of us, right? So this is a big game. But if you would have told me going into week 11, we'd be 7-3 at the beginning of the season, I'd sign up for this all day long. I mean, hell yeah, this is freaking amazing. 7-3, I'm down. So being bummed after this loss, like you, I wasn't upset after losing to the Steelers because we stood toe to toe against a contender. And it was a freaking, fight in a phone booth. And we almost came out of it on top without our number one running back, without our starting right tackle, right? Without Lattimore, who we just add to this team, it's going to make us even more dynamic once his hamstring is healthy.
Showdown in Philadelphia, prime time. You can watch it on the couch, or you can be in the presence of greatness. My saying this week is, yeah, we lost, but the bounce back will be epic. And that's how I feel, bro. The bounce back will be epic. It starts tomorrow.
So speaking about bounce back in that loss, in regards to NFL power rankings, right? We were 5th. We know what happened. No need to rehash it. We're 7-3. Where do you think we are now in that power ranking?
Well, based upon the fact they didn't give us the yard for the Earth's catch, if it would have been Mahomes or any other perennial team, I feel they would have given it to them. I think they punished us. I think they probably took us to double digits, maybe 11.
So thank goodness it's not that bad. We're 8th. We dropped down 3 spots.
Oh, that's not bad.
No, it's not as bad. We're still in the top 10, right?
Yeah.
It's saying here, Sunday's heartbreaking loss can be blamed on a host of other reasons, but it was not the finest game of Jaden Daniels' young career. He completed 50% of his passes, averaged fewer than 6 yards per attempt, and couldn't find much room to scramble as a runner, which has been a growing trend in recent weeks. The Steelers played a lot of man defense against Daniels, and it effectively slowed him down. Still, the Commanders led by 10 in the second half. They just couldn't put the game away. The defense share of big moments, but also allowed a touchdown drive every quarter and committed a crushing offense penalty at game's end. The Commanders surely could have used newly acquired cornerback Marshawn Lattimore, but his hamstring injury kept him out. Benjamin St. Juste, Mike Sanderstill, and Noah Igbenogany had their hands full against the Steelers when Washington's pass rush didn't get home. So they dropped us down 3 spots, but guess who took our spot in the top 5?
Who?
The Philadelphia Eagles. The Eagles are actually number 5 in the power rankings, and they had their bye in week 5. They ripped off 5 wins in a row since that bye. So they got right during that bye week, which is what I'm hoping we end up doing week 14, week 15, and we end up ripping off, 5 in a row at that point. But since the Eagles had their bye, the teams they have beaten are a combined 13-35. They haven't beaten anyone that's actually really good. And people said the same thing about us. You can only play who's on your schedule, right? But don't let that 5-game win streak scare you, is all I got to say, right? They're beating up on the cookie cutter teams that you're supposed to beat. They're beating up on the teams that, we would have beat, right? They beat Dallas, and I got back from the game. Oh, did you see the picture I sent about the bus fire?
No.
Dude, I'll text it to you. So we mentioned it on the last pod, the barbecue that happened in 2008,
Yeah.
where 9 cars caught on fire. Next thing I know, because I've got to leave to get to 202, so I've got to cut through the F lot to get out to 202, unless it wants me to take the freaking Beltway. There were parking attendants coming down and saying, "Hey, you might want to turn around and go the other way." I'm like, no, I have to go this way. They're like, "All right, well, there's a bus on fire right now, so it's going to be a while." And there's no victory cigar at that point because we lost. So I'm just sitting there. Mrs. Tailgate and I are sitting in silence listening to Doc Walker on the radio because she knows I'm upset and doesn't want to, I also didn't want to engage, but she knows it just let me kind of stew in my thoughts at that point.
Right.
And then we drive past the RV lot. There's a freaking bus. It looked like a commuter bus that caught on fire. And thank God nobody was hurt. Everything was okay. But it was leaving the lot. So people were actually on the bus and the thing caught on fire and they had to get off the damn thing. It was insane. I don't know what the hell
First
it
I'm
is
hearing
about
about
that
it.
game.
First I'm hearing about it.
Yeah, it was crazy. And when I rolled by, you could smell the burnt rubber and everything else from a car fire. It was just, yeah, it was
I
insane.
wonder how that happened.
No idea. I mean, maybe a terrible towel just got caught and just went up in flames. But so I got home and it's the fourth quarter of the Cowboys game and I didn't see the score. Or maybe when I looked at the TV, the score wasn't up. I didn't see Jalen Hurts. I saw their backup ends like, oh, damn. Did Hurts get hurt? What's going on? Nah, they were just kicking Dallas's ass too bad. So they took him out of the game and they were just whooping up on him. So, we mentioned it earlier. Dallas is no good. So they beat up on the Cowboys 34-6. They barely beat the Jaguars 28-23. They beat the Bengals 37-17. They crushed the Giants 28-3, and then the Browns 20-16. So all those teams they beat, we have already faced except for Jacksonville and Dallas. And we got Dallas in 2 weeks. I'm not going to say I'm not scared about it because it's a division game. You never know what's going to happen. But it's not like they were kicking, playoff contenders' asses during this entire run. So you got some hope there at least.
I love to hear it. But one thing that we do know is football is an emotional sport. And a lot of times these teams will play down to the competition and the competition will stick around just long enough and squeak out a win. And I'm hoping that that doesn't happen with us. I'm hoping that we can stay on a high and just plow through these guys because the city needs this. The players need it and the fans need it. And not only that, to shut all of the pundits up, we need to do this. And I left out of Philadelphia a couple years ago, and no one gave us a chance. As a matter of fact, I'm going to post that video again where I predicted that game. I'm going to post that video. I predicted that we'd win the game. It came to me in a dream, and no one believed me. But I said it came to me in a dream, and we're going to win this game. And I made a video, and sure enough, we did win. But getting back to the subject at hand, I really feel as though tomorrow night we will be victorious. Whether by 1 point, 3 points, 7 points, I think we will be, man.
So the spread is Philly -3.5. So we're getting 3.5 points, typically 3 points for home field. So it's a half a game, half a point percentage that, Philly's getting if it was a neutral field. I'm not sure if I buy it. I'm not sure if the spread's going to stay where it is. This ain't the same Philly is the problem. And right now, with the short week and the addition of Saquon, this Philly team scares me a hell of a lot more than last year's Philly team. And this is what DQ had to say about this matchup.
Hey, Coach, when you had an opportunity to look at the Eagles film, what are some of the things that you've seen that they do really well?
I'll start for their defense. I thought their 5 down fronts, the 4 down fronts, I thought safeties down when they're back, the disguise. I thought Coach Fangio does a very good job and has for a long time, Kendi, into that space. I love the aggressiveness of their corners, playing tight coverage onto people. So there'll be a lot of contested throws and contested throws and catches. The interior part of their guys, big guys with size and guys that can rip off the edge. So a good challenge that way. Offensively, I felt run game wise was similar to what we have seen. Their line coach and staff there has done a fantastic job through the years in the run game, and they've added an explosive player to the mix in Saquon. Kellen, I thought, added probably different, his flavor and elements to the drop back game to go. But the addition of Barkley has really been, as it's been proven, a big addition for them this year. Special teams wise, big place kicker, that can hit it from deep. So the field position for us is going to be a big deal in this game. That's where I think of them all at the top, and known quantity, tough group. And so for us, heading up there, division game, it's really cool. We're pumped.
So good news is Dan Quinn is familiar with the Eagles. The bad news is it's a new defensive coordinator and a new offensive coordinator. So you don't have a ton of film on those guys other than what they have done this year. And yeah, you can learn stuff from things they've done in the past, but it's still not the exact same with the weapons they have. And on top of weapons, they added arguably the best running back in the freaking league right now with Saquon Barkley. And I got to believe you saw his freaking reverse no-look hurdle. He did.
You see that.
I mean,
amazing athlete.
The guy is just running his ass off right now. And that's really what concerns me about this matchup, because they've got Devonta Smith and they've got A.J. Brown. And we know what A.J. Brown has done to us in the past. I mean, I still think that, he's just running for another touchdown against Emmanuel Forbes. And actually, one of my guys from the tailgate said, hey, why don't we put Emmanuel Forbes at a wide receiver? Right? He's not doing anything as a DB. I immediately replied, I think while he was still typing, I said, so he can just get blown up and fumble the second he catches the ball. I mean, it would be like, I don't know, man. I know the analogy. You ever see Unnecessary Roughness?
Mm-hmm.
Where they had that guy 88, like the little tiny guy going on the field, like the smallest guy out there. I feel like it'd be him trying to catch a ball and these big ass linemen just completely blowing him up the second that happened.
Well, I think he's best suited for where he is right now.
The bench, yeah, but that's it is actually that's what concerns me, right? Is when we've gone up against quality number ones, let alone two number ones. Like, not Devonta's not a number one, but he is a good 2A. We have had to have a cover 2 high shell. So that means that you've got two guys deeper, so you can't stop the run, because we're not playing a ton of man-to-man because we don't have corners that can stay in man-to-man. That is just going to make it even easier for Saquon to get the yards he needs. And Saquon has just been freaking crushing it. He's on pace for 2,000 yards and 17 touchdowns.
I think that with Saquon running the ball the way that he is, he's been running it. For those that partake in FanDuel, might want to look at what the over is, depending on what his yardage is that he has. But he's been running the ball really well. And sometimes we know that he scores. And cover 2 shell that you were speaking of, open it up for him. So might be something that you look into. I hope we shut him down, but if you bet with your heart or you go with the cold cash, we'll see what you can get out of it.
So I've actually had this bet waiting on FanDuel, right? And it's Saquon anytime touchdown. His over-under is 92.5 yards on the ground rushing. And his over-under receiving and rushing is 110.5.
Oh, over.
And it is only plus 153, meaning if you put down $10, you'll win $15, right? And I'm waiting for them to do a boost. Usually they'll have like a 30% boost or something. Yeah, I'm not trying to bet against my boys, but I don't think we can stop Saquon. I think Saquon is going to do what Saquon does or has been doing this season, because those listeners that are listening will say, well, we stopped Saquon when he played with the Giants. I'm sorry, but Jalen Hurts is not Daniel Jones, right? You have to worry about both of them. If you try and shut down one, the other one will get you. So who do you let beat you on Sunday or on Thursday is the question. And I think Saquon is going to get his. So that's why I feel that this is a easy bet to, hopefully help buy that victory stake for me. Even though Saquon gets his points, we're still going to come out victorious. Fingers crossed. But right now, I just think Saquon gives them that other dimension. It's, how Derrick Henry has given the Ravens that dimension they've been looking for? I think Saquon's doing the exact same for the freaking Eagles, and it just sucks that it came from the Giants. Those dumbasses let someone get stronger in our division.
Didn't want to give them the chips. And now their head coach as well as general manager will probably be fired. You live and learn. Live and learn.
This is actually what DQ had to say about the difference Saquon's made while he's been in Philly.
With the Eagles and Saquon Barkley, they've been using him a lot more in the run game lately. Like, what kind of difference has he made to that offense?
Yeah, he's an incredible player. I think the combination, where he can take somebody's leverage and try to work outside because he has the speed to go, and then the ability to spin or to change leverage. And so that, to me, is a factor in itself, the ability to start and stop, with that explosive nature that he has and try to break somebody's leverage. So the tackling, the angles, you want to make sure that point is really hammered home over and over. So that, he's an incredible player, great hands, the run game, the pass game. So when you see him in the Giants doing similar things and now doing similar things here, that transfers.
So Philly is number 1 in rush play percentage. They're calling 55% of their plays are running plays. And they're actually 32% of their plays are pass plays. So what you're getting when you're going against these freaking Eagles is a heavy dose of Saquon. And, oh, by the way, Jalen is still using his legs to actually extend plays and get further down the field, not just, pass the ball.
And he's a big boy. He's hard to take down. So we better pack our lunch. And I'm hoping that the plane has a great meal service, even if it is just for an hour, to get these guys ready to go. Because I don't know what type of pregame meal they're going to have. But as we used to say back in the day, you better eat your Wheaties. And I'm hoping that they had 2 bowls full.
So, the cart's going to stop at aisle 2 because they got to turn back around. But good news is they'll be in Philly by the time you guys hear this because they're going up on Wednesday. They're not going up on Thursday. So they'll be there.
It should be.
See what happens. They're averaging 4.9 yards a rush. And our run defense, we are giving up 4.8 yards a rush play. So pretty much it's kind of what we're giving up. We're giving up 142 on the ground a game, and they are getting 176 on the ground a game. They're number 2 in the league in rushing. So that's just why I think Saquon is going to do what he does, just because of the dynamic player he is. And I'll put the YouTube clip of that run that everyone's been talking about that he made. And it is unreal. But it just concerns me, right? How does Joe Witt prepare for this passing attack, knowing what damage can be done with the running attack? And I don't know. That's why I'm sitting here talking to you guys, sick as a dog, wearing a hat, trying to hide the fact that I feel like ass, because I don't know how the hell they're going to do this, especially on a short week.
Well, I'll say this, Ted, and to our listeners. I'd rather die by 1,000 paper cuts than just bludgeoning me and with one fatal wound. And I say that, give me the Saquon piecemealing it together versus over the top every possession. You know what I mean? I think if we can hold them that way, we'll be okay. But just throwing the pass up and scoring hypothetically every drive, I think we can work with them as far as the runs here and there, those passes over the top, those quick scores. I think that's what's going
I agree with you, and I think that's what they've been trying to do, right? They have been giving their opponent more opportunities to make mistakes, to shoot themselves in the foot versus those long bombs. Like that Hail Mary, not Hail Mary, that moon ball that Russell Wilson threw. Oh, by the way, to a wide receiver they just acquired at the trade deadline over St. Juice, right? You don't want that to happen. You want them to have to dink and dunk and fight their way for every single yard and every single point, which is why they've been playing a high cover two shell, right? You don't give up the deep ball to A.J. Brown or Devonta Smith. And oh, by the way, they got a good tight end with Dallas Goedert. So you don't want to let those guys just torch you and beat you. You also can't give up the long ass run. Saquon has had against the Giants, he had a 55-yarder. Against the Bucks, he had a 59-yarder. Against the Saints, he had a 65-yarder, right? You cannot let him hit those home run balls, which he still has the speed and can do, right? And it has hurt us where these guys have gone out to the edge and been able to make that cut because we haven't forced the running backs back inside. So it's going to be a tough game for this defense. For you, the Commanders win if on Thursday. Give me 3 things that we have to do to win on Thursday.
Well, I said I believe stop the long ball as far as the pass is concerned. That's one. Second, limit the mental errors. If we can limit the mental errors, we would have won the game against Pittsburgh. We're talking about the Eagles now, but it's similar. If we can just keep our head tight, we'll be good. Third, I hate to say this, but I think we're going to have to see more Jalen running the ball. I think that's going to be the X factor in getting it done with this team. How about you?
So I'm with you on the third option, right? Jaden had 5 yards rushing on Sunday. I mean, it's just, he's got to be special on Thursday for us to win this game. He cannot be average, and he was average. He literally completed 50% of his passes this past week. He can't do that. And I'm not going to blame him 100% on that. You had some guys that had some drops, right? But Jaden has to be able to use his legs. And hat tip to the Steelers. They had Patrick Queen spying Jaden. So he could not get to where he needed to go to use his legs efficiently. And I don't know how he says he is fine. He says he's okay, but going back and watching that game, you could tell, even though he didn't get sacked a ton, he only had 3 sacks, you could tell that some of those hits he was actually bothered by. And it came up during his press conference. And he didn't admit anything, but said on some of those RPOs and those handoffs, when he gave the ball away, he was still getting hit by the defense. And they were legal hits within time. It's like a body blow in a boxer. They just start adding up after a while. And next thing you know, you take one and that haymaker's there, and all of a sudden you're out. And I think that's what happened to him. And it kind of took his legs away from him because he was sore and things were possibly bothering him because he looked off. He didn't look like Jaden, right? His passes were behind guys. Some passes had too much zip. Some passes didn't have enough. And we need him to be able to use his legs and be that special guy that made him the number 2 pick in the draft. I also need the team. We have not been converting on third down. Our third down efficiency last week was 5 for 14. You cannot give the Eagles more bites at the apple. You have to keep their offensive snaps down and keep yours up. We lost time of possession. 23 minutes we had it. They had it 36, right? That cannot be the way for us to win this game. If the Eagles are beating us in time of possession, something is going wrong for us. And having B-Rob back this week is going to be freaking huge because we're going to need him to grind that ball out, grind that clock out. And I don't know why, man. This kind of pissed me off. Chris Rodriguez had a heck of a game the week prior. He got 2 carries against the Steelers. Why? It made no sense to me. When you go up against a 3-4 defense, you don't run outside. You don't run wide. You punch them in the middle where they're weaker. But yet, Eckler and McNichols we're running up the middle, running towards the outsides. And Patrick Queen, other guys on their team, were running us down and not letting us get to the sides. Well, guess who can be that bruiser back when B-Rob's out? Was Chris Rodriguez. And they didn't take advantage of that. And you have got to take advantage of your size this week, because this is going to be a fight. This is going to be a true NFC East battle. I'm just hoping it's the battle where freaking Rocky loses in, the beginning, not the rematch, and we go from there. But third, we need to get some sacks. We need to get some hits on Jalen. I need Cleveland Farrell. I need Jeremy Chin to be the freaking badasses that they have been these past couple of weeks. I mean, those guys have been playing like their hair's on fire. And oh, by the way, this is a huge, massive game, and we need our playmakers to step up on defense. And there are playmakers on defense, because, sorry, BSJ scares me. I've got more faith in him, but BSJ scares me going up one-on-one, because A.J. Brown is going to at least double move him 5 times, maybe 6, and I don't know what's going to happen if he's got enough time to actually let that double move develop and then just hit those guys over top, meaning Jalen.
Those are all good points, man. And I can't fight you on any of those. The biggest thing is, hopefully the team collectively can put it all together, come out of Philadelphia with a dub, and that flight back will only be 45 minutes versus an hour.
Okay, so they'll get to row 1 and then have to turn the car back around. So maybe she's just going to drop all the peanuts off at the first seat, and then it's like in the what the hell is it in church, where they just kind of pass a little thing around the basket so everyone can kind of throw their tithe in.
It'll be trick or treat.
There you go.
We'll have the bucket, and as you walk on the plane, they hand it out to you.
So I'm hoping it's going to be like that flight with Kirk Cousins, where he had all that ice on and all the guys just started putting their jewelry on top of him, and Kirk's just dancing there. It'll be Jaden dancing there with his shirt off, just celebrating the victory. But I hate to say it, I'm taking the Eagles this game. If this wasn't a short week, I think we can win this game. But being a short week, not having Lattimore, not having Seibert, just the guys banged up, I don't think we're going to actually end up victorious in this one. But at 7-4, knowing we still play them again, I'm fine with that. The sky's not falling. Our house isn't on fire. We've got the Cowboys and we got the Titans after that. So realistically, 7-4 can easily turn to 9-4. So I hope to God I'm wrong. And you guys are all going to throw crap at me when you see me at the Cowboys game. But if, heaven forbid, I am right, we're still going to be okay. What say you?
We're going to be okay regardless. That's one thing that I do know. I told you, we're playing with house money. We got spoiled winning these games and didn't think we could ever lose again. But we were smashed to reality and smacked back down to earth with the reality that we can lose. So now it's time to win again. Commanders will win in Philadelphia. That's what I'm predicting.
I hope to God you're right, man. And I'm wrong. And we get that dub. And then we got Dallas right after that.
Well, hey, that's what I'm saying. But we can't look past them to get to Dallas. Can't do that. In a wake up, we've got a game to be played, and I can't wait to be there to witness it in person. Or folks, I hear the music playing in the background. It's fitting that it's the Rocky theme because we're going to get stronger. We're going to knock guys out. It's going to do it for this episode of the DMV Mess Hall. Captain and Tailgate Ted. We'll see you on the flip side. Deuces.